weather forecast today?
Today's forecast, a lot of sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just a perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but I get away. Feels like it's been a freaking...
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Contracts and Cocktails. I'm Carolyn Smith.
And I'm Kellie Bowling, and we're with the Coastal Estate team.
We are, and we're talking today about the struggles of younger people, young professionals even, to buy their first home.
Yes.
And what it really brought to light, or brought this to light for me. I mean, we obviously know about it, but I was watching a social media video, TikTok.
It was a TikTok.
It was a TikTok, and it was a young professional woman, and she was 30, and she was talking about what a saver she is. She saves 30% of every paycheck. She said she does not make an obnoxious amount of money, but she makes a good salary.
Yeah.
And she has lived alone, and she had made a goal for herself that she was not going to be renting an apartment anymore.
Yeah. Her rent had gone up like $500
Yes.
a month in the last 2 years.
Yes.
And she was like, I'm done with this.
I'm done, and I'm 30, and I want to have my own house. And she talked about how she could only afford to buy in these very bad neighborhoods. She lives in a smaller area. She doesn't live in some big, she doesn't live in New York City or Chicago or somewhere.
So it's like a little small town.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she said everything she's seeing, she said, now I could buy and live paycheck to paycheck and not save. I could buy a better home.
Right.
But she said, I don't want to do that. I'm very conservative. I want to be able to continue to save, which is so smart.
Right.
So smart.
Yeah, she was talking about putting away 30% of every paycheck,
Yes.
which is very disciplined. And I kind of wish I had that discipline.
I wish I had it, but I wish I had it when I was younger.
Definitely.
But she is moving back in with her parents at 30 years old. And she said it, in order to save more money
Right.
to be able to buy a home. And she's like, how are other people doing it? How are they doing it?
Yeah.
And I will say, so one of my very good friends had asked me, they're well off. They've saved for a long time, worked very, very hard. And her daughter is sort of in the same position. And she said, I'm thinking about giving her like a large gift to be able to buy her first home because it's so expensive. She does live in a bigger area where
Yes.
home prices are more expensive. Mm-hmm. And she said, her husband was saying, no, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I said, honestly, it's a great idea. I mean, you are not in a position, you have put yourself in a position where you're fine for retirement. You're not going to be hurting yourself
Right.
by doing this. Eventually, this money is going to go to your children when you pass away, which may, way, way down the road. But you have this extra money. Give it to her now.
Yeah, let her reap the benefits now because that home that she's able to buy will continue to appreciate. It will be worth,
And it will help her for the rest of her life.
Yeah, because she'll be able to continue. Like she'll either have a place to live, or if she does sell it down the road, she'll be able to take that difference and put it into her next home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in a position as a parent where you can do that, by all means, do that. Don't wait until you pass away and your kids are 60 or whatever age they are, and then you leave them money, and that's great. They can go travel and stuff, but maybe they've never been able to buy a home.
Right.
And a home really helps them set themselves up for their future and being able to be financially stable.
It's a great investment. Maybe you structure it a different way if you're worried about like all of your money going somewhere and not having anything to show for it. Maybe you structure it a different way, but that's, for each individual to kind of decide how they want to handle it. Like if they want to have joint ownership of it or something like that. But
or structure some of it as a separate loan that can be paid back at some point in the future or a little bit at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
I know that my mom helped my brother buy a house, and she did it as a loan. Mm-hmm. And he was able to pay it back when he was able to pay it back. It wasn't like,
you got to pay it back right now.
Yeah.
In these many payments and
because he was moving and
like as parents, we want to be able to help our children.
Mm-hmm.
My parents were not in a position where they could do that for me.
Right.
And I know that they would have wanted to be able to be, and they helped me in every way that they could. And, I'm trying to do the same thing for my now getting older children, you know.
Yeah, you have adult children, right?
Yeah. So, Chris is in a position where she can't work now because she's going to be in PA school. So, yeah, that's exciting. But also it's a little scary for mom because, that means, her living expenses have to come from somewhere. So it's either going to have to come from student loans, which she still has not gotten a number to find out how much she's going to have access to.
Right.
Meanwhile, she's literally moving into a new apartment next week.
Right.
And there's expenses with that. So, it's eating away at her savings. I want to be able to help her.
Right.
So we'll do what we can.
Student loans can be crippling. I mean, I hate to say that, but they can be. We see people who are, in their 40s still trying to pay back student loans, still feeling very crippled by it, still preventing them from doing things like owning a home because their student loans are so big. So, that's another subject, but be careful with the student loans. And I mean, this is just my personal opinion, but a degree is a degree, and going to a good state school, you don't have to go out of state to get a good education. You don't have to go to the very top, even if you're accepted. If you don't get financial aid to go to those schools and it's a struggle for you, maybe taking out the loans is not the best idea just to go to an out-of-state school. But
I think, kids can get blinded by like, oh, they want me. I was watching the TikToks this past weekend for like Ivy Day.
Oh, yeah, I watched that.
And they're like, I'm like literally crying. I'm like, these opportunities for these children. They're so excited. They're crushed because they didn't get into one or whatever. But, their family's celebrating with them. I'm like, that's really cool. So,
yes. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Summer got waitlisted at Northeastern. We were like, oh my gosh, And then I was like, it doesn't matter. You tell them no.
Right? We don't need that spot.
Yeah, she's going to a state school, and we're quite happy with that.
But, not even just housing costs, but the girl in the video that we watched who's moving back in with her parents, she was talking about the cost of groceries.
Yes.
Which I started a little tracking system for my family in January, and I'm like, I'm going to kind of try to be more cognizant of how much money I'm spending on food. We don't really eat out. We used to, but we quit doing that because it is expensive. And so I would track all of my Publix receipts and, Costco and all of that. And I'm like, Brandon, we're 5 people in a house. I have a 12-year-old boy who eats like he's 25. And then, an 18-year-old boy.
Who also eats like...
Well, yes. I mean, they're growing boys.
Yes.
And then a 9-year-old who only eats snacks. So we have a lot of snacks. And we don't buy the cheapest stuff. And we do try to eat clean and healthy.
Yes.
So I get that there's an added cost to that. But it's like, I cannot get this grocery bill below a couple grand a month, and it's not good.
We were talking about how much simple things like, I mean, yes, you can make your own, red sauce, but if and I buy it at Costco, your own, marinara sauce, but your marinara sauce or your pasta or things that are relatively, we've always thought of as like value meals, even those
are expensive.
And I just got to say, the other day I was craving Cheetos. Once in a while, my friend Cindy always says, step away from the Cheetos, because once in a while I want Cheetos. And I was like, okay, I want a bag of crunchy Cheetos. And it's, the big bag of crunchy Cheetos is like, it's small.
Yes.
So, Kyle came home and he's like, do you know that was $5?
Oh my gosh.
For a bag of Cheetos at Publix. And I was like, $5?
Publix isn't cheap, but it's so close to my house. Like, could I go maybe to Aldi or Walmart? Because I used to shop at those places, but then I have to bypass so many other stores on the way there.
And there's a time, there's a time value of your, what is your time cost to go to all these different grocery stores, and I'll buy this here, we're working parents, and we work more than 40 hours a week.
I have a hard enough time trying to fit in a Costco run when I need to. It's like, oh, geez, we're out of this, so I've got to make a stop over there when I'm going to be in that area again. So, and
nothing against Instacart, but both of us for a little while were doing Instacart as a time saver. But when you actually realize the
cost
markup
is more, you're
not just paying like a tip and a little service fee. You're paying a markup on your groceries. Then you're like, I'm going to stop that.
Yeah, I did quit that. Yeah, we go once a week now. I make my list. I have everything meal planned. We've been really good about doing that all year. I say we, but it's really me. Yeah. Because nobody else has given me any ideas or planning out the menus, right? But, we'll go together and, we kind of tag team the run. It doesn't take long. We get home, we put it all away, and it's done. I don't have to go back to the store during the week, which is amazing because I used to run to Publix like daily.
I think we're at least twice a week. I can't get down to once a week.
That's not bad. Twice is not bad. It's better than every day.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do that when I'm on my way home from work. Like,
oh my gosh,
you're lucky if I'll stop for gas. I mean, because I'll be like, I'll do that in the morning.
Yes.
And then then I never want to do it in the morning.
And then in the morning, you're like on E, you're going, I got to drive to Merritt Island, and now I got to get there.
Yes.
So it is true. But so as a young professional, and I think this girl was already doing that. She was very savvy, but you'd be surprised, going out, like how much does a drink cost when you go out? And of course you want to go out, you want to have fun. And we're not saying don't do that. I'm not saying like give up everything,
right.
give
don't
up
be a
Starbucks.
Hermit.
Yeah. Don't be a hermit. Don't give up what but maybe don't go to Starbucks every day. Maybe when you go out, have one drink instead of three. It's probably better for you anyway and safer.
Yeah.
But, maybe cut down on the meals out or go to less expensive places to try and save up some money. Home ownership, when I look back at my 20s, and I definitely I had a very good job. I was making very good money. I could have bought a home if I had been smarter. If I had been smarter about I should have started buying a home back then. I should have done that. So I would say as a young professional, if you can, rent is, yes, you don't have to worry about anything, but nothing gained there.
Right.
Nothing gained there except for maybe some time of not having to deal with, you have to, fix something.
There's
when
definitely
it's
situations where renting is better depending on your circumstances for sure. But yeah, the ability to then take that money every month and, granted the bank's taken some for their interest, but you are building into your own equity also.
Yes.
So that you always know, that's something my husband and I have talked about, that, if the shit hits the fan,
right,
we have our house. We can sell our house and then we'll be fine.
Right. And there's a tax benefit to home ownership. You can deduct expenses related to your annual expenses of your home. So don't forget about that. Right. I just, I wish I had done it sooner. I think it's something you should plan for and think about. And I commend that girl. I wish I knew her name so y'all could watch her TikTok. But I commend that girl for really doing, it's hard at 30 years old to move back in with your parents. You could see she did not want to.
Hard.
Yeah.
I had to do that once, and when I was a single mom with 3 little kids, and it was not ideal for any of us, including my parents. But, I feel like as a parent, and I know you feel the same way, that if your kids flew the nest and that they needed to come back, we would open the doors, open arms, open doors, everything, like, come on in, like, what do you need?
Yes,
so
maybe
do
by then they'll learn how to do their own laundry.
Maybe.
I won't be doing laundry
I can remember
anymore.
when I moved back in with my dad, he wouldn't let me do my own laundry.
Oh my gosh,
he is very
love
protective
him.
of the laundry. He loves to do the laundry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and when I go home to visit, which has been a long time, but they can barely hit the floor before he's collecting them and doing them and folding them and putting them neatly back on the bed. Like, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I need somebody to come do that at my house.
Right.
I'm the laundry lady at my house. So
Tommy has taken on that task at our house for the most part.
Oh, that's nice.
He's does the fancy towel folding.
Oh, really?
I saw it on a TikTok and I sent it to him. And then you know what? The next time he did the towels, they were all rolled up like that. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Oh, wow.
But then I feel
cool.
pressured to do the same if I do the towels. So yeah.
My towels are not, no. They're lucky they made it back to the shelf. That's what I'm going
right.
to say.
Here, just grab one out of the basket, you guys.
Yes, right.
They're all going to land
We're
there
lucky
anyhow.
that we attempted to fold them and they got where they needed to go.
Yeah.
That and the fitted sheet. I just want to say the fitted sheet. I've watched a million videos. They're like, oh, you just do this. I'm like, no, it still looks like.
Pull it all up in a ball.
I get it small. I don't know what it does. But I'm like, you know what? No one sees that.
No
one sees that. I don't care.
It's all stretched out.
Yeah,
It's fine.
whatever. So I think that's it. We're just going to say call us. 321-422-2160. Email us, hello@coastalestateteam.com. Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to our podcast.
I mean, there's so many places and opportunities to hear
we are
us.
out there all over the place.
Are we annoying you yet?
We hope so. So please do follow us. We love talking to y'all, and we hope you like listening. So we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Sunny days, no clouds in the sky, but again.